Welcome to our lovely future humans and our 5D collective. To those who are new, we're a bunch of embodied self leaders, emotionally mature people who use tools for growth, not validation. And we have a prompt here for irritation. So if you are new, you don't know, 5D collective, mystic, spiritual, mindful, aka healthy self worth, steady self image, nervous system sovereignty. So, what I've noticed is the people who use communities to validate each other, yes, it's not because of social media that we have more of epistemic laziness and emotionally immature people. No, it's because those people have those who don't model, meaning they don't know how to embody being a self-aware, accountable, regulating grown-up. And so with neutrality, on the other hand, we do get to continue knowing. Here's the question for those who journal and self-reflect with growth in mind. How does my irritation block me from being of service, support to others, human evolution, to inspire human potential? How does your irritation block you from you? Because when you're growing, that's the part of where anything that comes up, you get to explore. Reality is socially defined, but the definitions are always embodied. That is, concrete individuals and groups of individuals serve as definers of reality. It's from this book. Okay, so there's a lot of subject matters that tell us about society. Words, they're used to shape popular opinion and justify legal action and political policy. But the reality is, if you have embodied self-leaders, not only do they not need transformation because they've transformed, and really what happens is we continue to expand, and so you continue to be blissed out. That's because of this integrated brain, left and right, restored, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating people. And so we're not groupies of each other. That's where we know that words, we want to use them all. And those who have effective realism, so charges with words, aren't becoming self-aware, accountable, regulating. They don't know how science is true, whether you believe it or not. And they apparently do want to still use good and bad and evil in terms like that. So what I have come to realize when I am here at IHP, it's not only about me, of course. It's about you being yourself. And as I share with you stories, information, as I always have, I continue to grow myself as an embodied self-leader. And so you can check out PayHip for working with uncertainty. So from uncertainty to steadiness. Emotional regulation is a choice. Life without it is not your best life. Self-awareness is something you hold. And if you do have any curiosity, yesterday we had a live. I'm gonna maybe do a separate episode to answer the Reddit questions, but in the meantime, you can check it out, where I answer one of the questions in addition to talking to you all about why lives are unappealing. And it's not that I am unappealed by social media. No, social media connects us to each other, but my left, like anybody else's left, and the right, and my amygdala will alert me to that which I don't like, that which is dangerous to humanity. And then it might make it a little bit bigger than what it is. And then that irritation that blocks me from doing what I've always wanted to do since a little girl, help people to be themselves and live a fulfilling life. And so I get to grow up with you guys. I get to grow up with everybody. And then to let you know, God is discerning quantumous love. If you want to read a little bit about me, in the chapter, The Ways, in the book, The Ways to God, the chapter, I forget what number, I think 7, God is discerning quantumous love. And I have a recent message I heard, which I was like, yep, that's correct. God and Jesus and anyone who's spiritual knows that we're meant to live on an earth that is in peace. Those who think, like the medieval times, well, they don't know who God is, and they will continue maybe to think they do, but epistemic laziness is from that which is also called polarization and dysregulation. And so we don't really have anything to say about people who got the short end of the stick, except for if one day they decide to do what is in their best interest, then they will model, meaning show up in life with that which is integrity, because embodied self-leaders do that. So life's purpose, it's chicken, the egg. People don't struggle with the purpose, they struggle with their state. And when they figure it out, what brings you to life, it's because they will have worked with who they are, and they will have particularly worked with the irritable, rigid parts, because that's what blocks you from enlightening yourself, but also from bringing to the world that which is you. And it's not a boring journey, might I add. So the community that comes to HP and anywhere I'm at, and Substack if you want, there's already a free Substack that you can subscribe to, and at some point we're going to have some paid content too. And there was one more thing. Words, you'll never get it right 100%, but if you can tend to your steady self-image and you differentiate and you maintain an emotional mastery, what happens is, if your interest is that which is to be in a conversation, you're going to notice the charges, you're going to work with yourself, and you're going to continue tangoing with people. So we don't use any of journaling, self-reflective mindset practices to validate ourselves. We don't use our friendships, our family ships, or anything to validate ourselves, because that's what children need. Children need to be taught. You teach them how to be able to have confidence, and it's from the nervous system. It's not the words I use. So third attunement, repairing ruptures, which we all can continue, and in fact we do, with epistemic curiosity, discipline, and not letting the left and honing in on all the negativity take it over and become so big of a bubble that you're just irritated with all of the low 3D, 4D frequency, might I add. So yes, they are here, the suffering ones, but you can't make somatic bypassers and spiritual bypassers choose to do what is in their best interest because they don't believe in scientists. And that's why when I see in communities that they just go to validate the emotional immaturity, well, I mean, manipulation, mass appeal tactics, artificial hooks, performing for attention, diluting epistemic integrity, they actively support their patterns of behavior. They support the triggers, they support the stories, they support the leaders who are actively in dysregulated bodies. And so we don't do, let's enforce our rigidity. It's what happens when I increase flexibility. It's another journal prompt. As I soften control, if you're still working with that. Soften resistance, if you're working with that. Soften irritation, you could add that one. Soften emotional charges of any type. And so every year we get to do some more growing up. It's really fun. And again, check out PayHip for more bundles. Uncertainty to Steadiness is one of the top bundles I've been talking to you about. And for life's purpose, again, if you struggle with it, you want to learn nervous system regulation and then to take all your child parts and be a grown-up. The people who go to therapy transform, then they're no more mask, and then we can meet them. Then they do the personal and spiritual growth that we've been doing here for 16 years. That's right, we're celebrating. It's been 16 years of IHP. And so in honor of IHP and of you being here, let's remember that emotional immaturity in leadership positions, families, work, the world, they seek validation loops, which weakens their window of tolerance, and then we just see as they continue to make our world very uncomfortable, but we will get to the comfortable world, don't worry. I know some people think it's not possible. What does Nelson Mandela say? They'll say it's impossible until it's made possible. We won't say, I told you so, because that's actually not something nice. Plus, God already knows who wins. We do too. That's why he doesn't like his children to be fighting each other in ways that are unnecessary. And then I like to let you all know, if you don't believe in anything spiritual or in anything that is a faith or religion, I read an article today from scientists. Our human species evolves. Also, as a scientist, even in this book, natural selection. So life always wins. So win is of that, which is, I don't have the other book out. A physicist proves it, like I don't even know how many different ways can we prove that we're going to be great and do fine. So we can try to convince people. Okay, I'm going to stop teasing. One more question for you. How has my ability to create steadiness from uncertainty helped me to stay true to myself, to help others in need, and to expand humanity into, what is this word? More loving, more evolved, more whatever. And not more because we have to do more. This is like a child when it's like, let's make it, let's embellish it. You get excited over some things. Okay. And there were two more questions, but I don't know if I'll find them since I have so many notes here. I did the flexibility one. This one actually is a good one too. where does rigidity come up? What do I deny as existing when rigidity comes up? What can I accept as part of this world that I don't want to or would not want to see as part of the world? And again, it's a work in progress with fun in the forefront. When you have the right people around, that's the beauty of it. And so our amygdala, as we close on out, it is what alerts us to that which is of interest. We're all motivated differently. And so when you are thinking of your society, so when I say humanity, sometimes that might sound like I'm distancing, but let's make it more tangible. When you get irritated, you're cutting yourself off, your heart, and you're getting defensive. No matter how small it is, it still get you into a little validating story that you'll begin talking. And so you'll begin to justify the moodiness, right? And then you'll be able to dehumanize easily that which is and distance yourself, which means you're protecting yourself. And here's how you keep control. So are you benefiting all, or are you just having a very boring talk that doesn't result in anything different than what you did yesterday? Which is why we enjoy personal and spiritual growth, emotional regulation. Life without it is not the best life. And mediocre people are boring and irritating because, one, they are also, by the way, dysregulating, but they are irritating when they're irritating. So like I make fun of a Zen master, it says, we can't be in enlightenment so aged because there's laundry, which means when he cries, when you get irritated, I'm irritated, that's all you're going to hear in your head. And all you're going to do is be irritated. Did you do anything of different than you did yet? No. So what was the point of it? Nothing. Which is why it's hilarious when I see people who journal and reflect, but they're not really growing from it. They're just validating themselves. So our amygdala is alerted to that which is of interest in a good way and a bad way. If you have effective communicators around you, and if those people are interested in bringing forth the best of you, that's why others are important, because it's not because you need to say, oh, we're doing such a great job. That's not the same thing. Embodied self-leaders don't need to be emotionally, mentally, or physically validated. Actually, people will think, what are you babying me? If they're embodied self-leaders, they won't be like offended, but they'll be like, okay, let's understand this, can we? So, but my point is that when you think of society and supporting the bigger picture, you're going to feel called to leave an example. If you're grown up, I'm 46. And so as you grow up, you are more likely than not, as you get more blissed out in life, say, okay, let's make sure children know, they're not bad children. We know the word exists because people want to be able to still use it. Okay, they need help learning how to emotionally regulate, and they don't believe in the scientists that can help them. And actually, not all of those who are within the community are doing great. Which reminds me here, let me read you some red flags, because I didn't do that short yet, but I might do that one tomorrow, because it was a very good list of red flags that you will want to keep an eye out for. So when you notice these, remember, emotionally immature people, they didn't get taught to be emotionally mature. And so you can't teach a person who has insecurities how to become a secure, healthy, functional inner child adult, when instead you're whole. That's the point. We bring in it all of who we are. And when we're effective with each other, we grow a community that brings out the 5D collective harmony. And so, yes, we're moving in that direction, by the way. So it's okay. I know what you see. I see it too, but we're getting there. So watch out for polarization, unchecked biases, good and bad groups of people. So if therapists say this is good, that is bad, in a way of saying there's no way out for them. No, I've met a number. I learned from them still right now, and every person has the same embodied brain and capacity to work with their self, their states of self, nervous system, and so forth, with a good specialist for however long it takes. They need to want that, though. So extremisms, any extremists and anyone who's putting science and spirituality against each other, they're playing to crowd, and people who allow themselves to actually believe in it, well, epistemic lazy people. I met them as a kid, met them in college, meet them still now as a professional. I'm not flattered. I'm not happy, meaning it's like, wow, I'm just like, wow, this is mind numbing to my brain right now. Gender stereotypes, as I get older, I'm like, what, really? Did we still have ignorant human beings out there? Oh my gosh, how many are there? And so once again, that's the part of where, if you're emotionally mature, you don't want to be around numbing, emotionally speaking, childish conversations is how I'm bringing it to you. The twin flame thing, yes, there's twin flame and flames. It's not drama or saga, but the 3D, 4D use stories as they don't work on their emotional charges. And then there's a lot more I could say about that, but I won't right now as we close on out. Epistemic laziness, which you'll spot their pseudo-intellectualism, and that's because you'll be able to notice that they're not open to all information in a way of being curious. And also, if they're going to defend a position, but they're still intellectually and emotionally mature, they're still going to do it with fun. And they're just going to say, look, here's all the things I do know. Here are objective truths. Here are not. They'll be able to continue having a good time with you versus it becoming something that is almost hilarious when I see people having debates in ways that are, I'm like, okay, there's your 16-year-old. I know all about it, but wow, come on, let's grow up. Let's have enjoyable intellectual conversations as we try to support our society to become more inclusive, more this, more all of the things that we're seeing, right? So if they present you perfect healing or other systems, yes, there's not a perfect anything, but I'm sure that the ones who give you a 1, 2, 3, 4 are doing which they think will help you to learn. And those who actually want that, they buy into it. Now, you don't need another transformation. You need embodied self-leadership. So once you are transformed, is why wow, the flow state, it's not boring. Enlightenment Soul Age is really fun. AKA restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating people. So you get to do the flow state and you get to put one foot in and one foot out. And then when your charges come out, you get to keep doing it. And that's why we do karma, dharma. We bring in, I like to use my stick words. If you're new, you don't know that. But it's for another time. In the meantime, thanks for stopping by. Again, check out PayHip for bundles that involve mindset practices and journal prompts, and then Substack. And if you want, besides YouTube, those of you who are on Spotify and other podcasts, you can go to YouTube, TikTok. On YouTube, you can also visit the other podcasts and the other platforms. And thanks for stopping by.